Good evening and thank you for joining us. Hong Kong's unemployment rate has risen for the second consecutive month, reaching 3.5%. The Labour Department announced that starting today, the enhanced supplementary labour scheme will step up protection for local workers by generally allowing only one application per employer every 6 months. With the recent closures of chain restaurants and businesses amid an uncertain economic outlook, the city's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate from March to May rose by 0.1 percentage point to 3.5%. This reflects an increase of about 6,400 individuals going out of a job, bringing the total number of jobless people to nearly 136,000. The rises were more pronounced in the construction, retail, and property sectors. Statistics show that the jobless rate has grown faster in recent months. Secretary for Labour and Welfare Chris Sun said external uncertainties and structural adjustments in different sectors will continue to affect job creation. The government has introduced enhanced supplementary labour schemes since the third quarter of 2023, allowing the import of labour for 26 lower-skilled roles, including waiters and salespeople that were previously excluded. That's given they fulfill conditions including an unsuccessful local recruitment drive over 4 weeks. The two-year scheme has approved the import of over 54,000 foreign workers as of late March, with the catering industry accounting for most hires. But labour groups have been critical, citing concerns that some employers have abused the mechanism to displace local workers. With that, the Labour Department said it is introducing 4 new measures to better protect local workers' employment. Employers will generally not be able to hand in another application within 6 months of a previous submission unless in special circumstances, such as contract renewals for already imported workers. The government will roll out an online platform for local workers to file relevant complaints. Authorities will also conduct targeted inspections at firms employing imported workers to verify that local to imported worker ratio remains at least 2:1. Violations will result in penalties including withdrawals of approvals and a 2-year ban from future applications. Director of Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office will visit the city for 5 days starting on Wednesday. Xia Baolong will attend a national security law forum during his time in the city. The government will host the 5th anniversary of promulgation and implementation of Hong Kong National Security Law Forum at Convention and Exhibition Centre in Wan Chai on Saturday. Speaking to the media ahead of the Executive Council meeting, Chief Executive John Lee said Xia Baolong will attend the forum. Lee said Xia would also take the opportunity to inspect the SAR's economic and social development over his 5-day trip. The chief executive also announced that Hong Kong is ranked 3rd out of 69 global economies in the 2025 World Competitiveness Ranking, released by the International Institute for Management Development this week. This marks Hong Kong's return to the top 3 for the first time since 2019. Miriam Lynch reports.
Hong Kong is 3rd in this year's World Competitiveness Ranking, behind only Switzerland and Singapore, up from 5th place last year. With a score of 99.2 out of 100, Hong Kong saw an improvement of 7.7 points, the largest increase of any economy in the top 10. Hong Kong also ranked 1st in tax policy and business legislation, as well as 2nd in government efficiency. The chief executive attributed the success to both the government's new reforms and to the civil servants.
It shows that the civil servants working hard and under the leadership of the ruling team, the government is able to produce effective results and we are able to provide better livelihood for the people.
Lee recently announced that he is reviewing plans to establish a senior government officials accountability system for civil servants.
I hope that for the accountability system for politically appointed officials and for the accountability system for senior officials, I hope there will be integration so that we could enhance the governance level as a whole.
Lee added that the Chief Secretary for Administration will work with stakeholders to develop procedures to uphold accountability in disciplinary actions involving senior civil servants. Miriam Lynch, TVB News.
On the final day of the G7 summit in Canada, 6 of the group of 7 leaders were trying to show the wealthy nations club still had the clout to shape world events, despite the early departure of U.S. President Donald Trump. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney held bilateral meetings with his G7 counterparts. And later today, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and NATO Chief Mark Rutte will arrive to discuss Russia's war with Ukraine. Tracy Furness has more.
Before US President Donald Trump left the G7 summit, he and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer spoke with reporters about their trade deal.
It's a fair deal for both. Going to produce a lot of jobs, a lot of income, and we have many other ones coming. But you see the level of enthusiasm is very good, but the relationship that we have is fantastic. So I just want to congratulate you.
This now implements on car tariffs and aerospace, our really important agreement. And so this is a very good day for both of our countries, a real sign of strength. So thank you again, Donald. A really important day for both of us.
Trump managed to pose for a family photo with the other leaders before leaving. It wasn't clear why Trump left early, but he wrote on social media Monday night before returning to Washington that everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Trump later denied reports that he had rushed back to Washington to work on a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, saying his early departure has nothing to do with a ceasefire, adding, much bigger than that, without elaborating. Meanwhile, G7 host Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney had bilateral meetings with other leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron. The pair talked about the bilateral relationship between France and Canada amid crises and wars which were taking place around the world. Carney and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni sat for a meeting on the sidelines. Meloni said Canada and Italy are historically very good allies and friends, and that her government had been working to strengthen those ties. Carney and Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba talked about their strong ties as they continue to grow in everything from liquefied natural gas to future of hydrogen, critical minerals, and a wide range of shared values and interests in promoting peace and security in the world. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Welcome back. President Xi Jinping, who is in Kazakhstan for a state visit, met with presidents of 5 Central Asian countries ahead of the high-stakes China-Central Asia summit. He has called on leaders to jointly oppose unilateralism, safeguard the international trade order, and promote a more just and equitable global governance system. Danny Zhou has the story.
President Xi Jinping earlier held talks with his Kazakh counterpart, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, at the presidential palace in Astana. In his call to upgrade collaboration through Belt and Road projects, Xi is looking to advance cooperation in trade, investment, energy and infrastructure. Tokayev called China a good neighbor and a time-tested, reliable strategic partner. The two leaders witnessed the signing of 24 intergovernmental and interdepartmental documents, spanning from energy to investments. In the meeting with Kyrgyz President Sadir Japarov, Xi highlighted their improving relationship over the past 33 years. He called for the two countries to scale up trade and investment while urging high-quality construction of the China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan railway. Japarov stressed his country places importance on its ties with China and expressed opposition to Taiwan secession in any form. Later in the day, Xi held separate meetings with other attending Central Asian leaders, including Tajik President Emomali Rahmon, Turkmen President Serdar Berdimuhamedov, and Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev, in a bid to cement a wide range of cooperation with a resource-rich region. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Back locally, a 50-year-old woman died after she was involved in a traffic accident that saw 2 pedestrians hit by a truck at a bus stop in Hung Hom. The police arrested a 34-year-old man this afternoon. Sources said the man is the owner of the truck who claimed he was not the driver involved in the crash. Timothy Lee reports.
Dashcam footage uploaded to the internet showed a white truck swerving towards the fast lane as it was traveling on the East Kowloon corridor towards Yamate at around 6:30 a.m. The vehicle crossed 3 lanes before crashing into a Chatham Road North bus stop. A number of people waiting for the bus were seen desperately dodging and fleeing from the oncoming truck. 2 women were injured in the process, with one of them, aged 50, trapped underneath the vehicle. She was unconscious when the fire services personnel rescued her and was sent to Queen Elizabeth Hospital, where she was confirmed dead. The other 33-year-old woman suffered from injuries to her limbs and was sent to the same hospital for treatment. The driver had fled the scene after the crash. The police later arrested a 34-year-old man on suspicion of dangerous driving causing death. According to the road traffic ordinance, drivers involved in incidents pertaining to bodily harm or death must stop their vehicle and report to the police. Authorities further stress failure to do so is considered a criminal offense, noting that offenders could be subject to a maximum of 12 months imprisonment and a $10,000 fine. Sources said the accident victim worked as a waiter at a restaurant in Causeway Bay and was waiting for the bus to her workplace at the time of the incident. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Air conditioning has long driven up electricity bills, but a college of the Chinese University of Hong Kong has found a more sustainable way to stay cool. Its newly introduced mixed air conditioning system is able to save energy consumption by up to 67% at springtime and cut around $110,000 in electricity bills annually at the college. Take a look. The dining hall of Wuxing College at the Chinese University combines traditional air conditioning with these fresh air units that treat incoming air, able to cut humidity to around 70% while lowering the overall room temperature by 2 degrees Celsius. The result? A comfy indoor environment that feels just like conventional air conditioning, with the amount of annual energy use cut by 30% on average compared with pre-pandemic levels. At a more humid season in April, the amount of energy use is slashed by 67%. The hybrid setup even allows air conditioning to be switched off during off-peak hours without sacrificing comfort.
We have to look at the environment, we have to look at the structure, the location, where the sun is, and all the other factors involved. Once a custom solution is made available, the outcome will be just as satisfying as what we have achieved.
The college also hopes to expand the application of the energy-saving technology at this dining hall to other facilities at CUHK as well as other tertiary institutions. The Office of the Commissioner of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs invited representatives from foreign consulates and chambers of commerce on a tour at the Museum of History's Qin and Han Dynasty exhibition in a bid to deepen their understanding of Chinese civilization. Timothy Lee tells us more.
More than 30 representatives of foreign consulates and chambers of commerce visited the Museum of History's The Great Unity, Civilization of the Qin and Han Dynasties in Shanxi Province exhibition at the invitation of the Office of the Commissioner of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Treasures on display include terracotta warriors dating from the Qin Dynasty, as well as pottery from the subsequent Han Dynasty. Commissioner of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Hong Kong, Cui Jianchun, hoped the tour could further the group's understanding of Chinese history and civilization.
The Chinese unification started Qin Dynasty. So I think everybody will say that today we are still waiting for the reunification. So everybody knows that the Taiwan Strait, so China and also the people of two sides were waiting and fighting for this reunification. So unification is a key word of a Chinese mindset. And the most important last word is unity. And the unity is for everybody here. So we try to create a unity of the world regionally and globally. So today is our major purpose.
Some American businessmen in the group noted how the tour expanded his knowledge of Chinese history.
This was a wonderful exhibit showing a very important part of Chinese ancient history, the history of the Qin and the Han dynasties, when Emperor Qin Shi Huang unified China for the first time and standardized the writing system and the measurement systems, which still have influence and impact today. So it's very, very informative, and I'm very grateful to have seen it today.
Timothy Lee, TVB News.
A joint survey by 2 organizations found that 44% of AIDS patients had missed taking their antiretroviral drug on at least one day in the past 6 months. Between April and May this year, the Society for AIDS Care and the Society of Hospital Pharmacists of Hong Kong interviewed 54 AIDS patients. They found that 50% of patients who were below 50 years old with deteriorated economic burden would be more prone to missing out on their daily medication. The survey also shows that 42% of patients fail to inform medics about missing their dose of medication.
They think, oh, it's okay to miss 1 or 2 doses. And the consultation nowadays is still quite short. Clinic in Hong Kong is busy. So I think these patients try not to bring up too much problem. Emotional, psychological, family support, I think it's inadequate.
Private jets have long been an essential tool for ultra-wealthy individuals who frequently travel the world to conduct business. The chairman of a private jet company said on TVB's Straight Talk program that Hong Kong remains an attractive market for private jets in helping to connect the region with developing markets.
Here in Hong Kong is a huge hub for the company. We're here actually since more than 15 years. So you see typically the demographics in the CEOs and chairmen, on the entrepreneurs. The family offices are actually a very, very important client base. There's a big traffic and big trade. Vista really follows the trade routes or where trade is being done. If you look at Greater China, all the business which is being done in Africa, for example, that we are serving right out of this region here.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.